Sit down. I'm going to tell you something they won't. That retirement party they threw you, that gold watch, that was a lie. It was a gentle way of saying, your usefulness is done. Go sit on the porch and wait. I'm Helen Greywolf. I'm 73 years old. I've buried 3 husbands and more friends than I have fingers. I've watched good people wither in their rocking chairs because they believed the lie that their work was over. In this video, I'm going to give you back your fire. I'm going to show you 5 ways to find your new purpose in this third act of life. Not the purpose the world gives you, but the purpose that comes from the earth, from your bones, from the truths you've earned the hard way. Because you are not a finished story. You are a river that's just reached the wide, slow bend before the ocean. You still have water to carry. You still have ground to shape. You feel it, don't you? That hollow space in your chest where your work used to live. For 40, 50 years, you had a name for yourself. I'm a teacher. I'm a nurse. I'm a builder. I'm a mother with children who need me. And then one day, the bell rang. The last child moved out. The boss said thank you and handed you a check. And the room went silent. You walk into your kitchen and there's no one to make lunch for. You look at the clock and there's no place you have to be. Your hands are still good. Your mind is still clear. But the world has stopped asking you to show up. And that silence, that emptiness, it gets into your bones like the cold of a winter that won't end. You start to wonder if you're just taking up space. You start to wonder if your life meant anything at all. You look in the mirror and you don't recognize the person looking back. I'm going to tell you what I told my friend Ruth when she lost her husband, and then her job, and then her reason for getting out of bed in the same year. Ruth was 72, and she called me crying. She said, Helen, I have nothing left to give. I'm just a husk. The corn has all been harvested, and I'm just the dry stalk that's going to be plowed under. I drove out to her house. I made her sit down and I poured her a cup of coffee. I looked at her and I said, Ruth, you're looking at the wrong field. Because here's the truth the modern world won't tell you. The world measures your worth by what you produce, by the money you bring in, by the children you raise, by the things you build that can be seen and counted. That is a lie from the mouth of a hungry snake. The old way, the way of my grandmother and her grandmother, taught us that a person has 4 seasons, and each season has its own purpose. Spring is for planting. Summer is for growing and tending. Fall is for harvesting. And winter is not death. It is rest. It is deep stillness. It is the time when the earth holds its breath, when the roots that hold the tree firm grow deeper. Winter is when the land remembers itself. Winter is when you can feel the bone of the world. You are in your winter now, and in winter, you do not measure yourself by the weight of the harvest. You measure yourself by the weight of your roots, by how deep you reach into the soil of your own soul, by the stories you can tell, by the wisdom you can pass down like a warm ember carried from an old fire to a new one. The modern world has you thinking you're finished. The old way says you're just beginning the most important work of all. I'm going to give you 5 ways to find your new purpose. Not busy work, not little hobbies to keep you distracted. Real purpose, the kind that fills your chest and makes you stand taller than you've stood in years. 1. Look back and honor the path you've walked. Your life is not a list of mistakes. It is not a series of wrong turns. It is a trail that you have walked, and every step, even the ones that hurt, has brought you here. My grandmother used to say, "You can't see the shape of a river from the middle of it. You have to climb the canyon wall and look down at the whole thing. You are up on that wall now. You can see the bends and the rapids and the slow pools. You can see where the water carved through stone and where it simply rested for a while. And that view, that seeing, is a gift you owe to yourself. Take a week. Take a month if you need it. Sit with a notebook or a recorder and tell your own story. Not the pretty version, the real version, the hard parts, the beautiful parts, the moments where you surprised yourself. When you do this, you will find that your life was not meaningless. It was full of meaning you were too busy to notice. And you will find that the meaning is still there, waiting for you. I had a friend named Jacob, a farmer who lost his land to the bank when he was 68. He was so broken he couldn't look at a field without crying. I told him to write down everything he'd learned about the soil, the weather, the rhythm of the seasons. He looked at me like I was crazy. But he did it. He filled 3 notebooks. And you know what happened? A young man who had just bought some land came to him. He said, "Mr. Jacob, I need a teacher. I need someone who knows the old ways." Jacob found his purpose again, not in the work, but in passing the work on. That's your first step. You must honor the path you've walked, because it is the only thing that gives you the right to speak into someone else's journey. 2, look around and find who you can guide. Your purpose is not in the work. Your purpose is in the presence you bring to someone who is lost. I have a saying. A young river rushes and makes noise. An old river deepens and carries other boats. You have been carrying yourself for 70 years. Now it's time to carry someone else, not by doing their work. That's not what I mean. I mean by sitting with them, by listening, by telling them that you've been where they are and you came out the other side. Your neighbor might be grieving. Your grandchild might be scared about the future. A stranger at the coffee shop might look lonely, and you have the power to move their life with just a few quiet words. Beatrice is a woman I know. She's 82 now, and she lost her husband 6 years ago. She was a high school teacher for 40 years, and when she retired and then he passed, she thought she had nothing left. One day, she saw a young mother in the grocery store, struggling with a crying baby and a toddler who was running away. Beatrice didn't tell the young mother what to do. She walked over, picked up the toddler, and said, "Don't worry, I've been exactly where you are." She just helped. She just showed up. That young mother became like a daughter to her. Beatrice now calls her every day. She brings dinner once a week. She tells the young mother that she's doing a good job, that her children will be fine, that these hard days are the ones she'll look back on and laugh about. Beatrice found her purpose again, not in a classroom, not in a paid job, in the simple, holy act of being there for someone who needed her. So you need to ask yourself, who is in your life right now that needs your voice? Who is struggling and doesn't know it? Who is walking their own canyon and can't see the way out? Go to them, not to fix them, to walk with them. That is purpose. 3, look inward and find the thing you've always wanted to say. I'm going to give you a hard truth. Most people die with their songs still inside them. They held the words back. They were scared. They thought no one wanted to hear. But here's the thing about being in your winter. You no longer have to please anyone. The seasons of pleasing are over. The seasons of impressing are over. The season of standing naked in the truth of who you are, that season is now. You have a story in you that no one else can tell. You have a piece of wisdom that came from your unique life, your unique pain, your unique joy. And if you don't give it away, no one will ever get it. This doesn't have to be a book. It doesn't have to be a speech. It could be a letter to your grandchildren. It could be a recording on your phone. It could be a conversation with a younger person over coffee. But you have to say it. You have to let it out. I had a friend named Earl. He was a carpenter his whole life. He built houses that are still standing, but he always wanted to paint. He used to draw little pictures on scraps of wood when he was a young man, and he never did anything with it because he needed to work, because he had a family to feed, because he told himself it was foolish. When he turned 72, I saw him sitting on his porch, just staring at the horizon. I sat down next to him and I said, "Earl, what are you looking at?" He said, "I'm looking at the colors, the way the light hits the hills. I've been seeing it my whole life and I never painted it." I said, "Then paint it, right now. Go get some paint." He looked at me like I'd just suggested he fly to the moon. But he got up and went to the store and bought a cheap set of paints and a canvas. And you know what? He painted. His first paintings were clumsy. They looked like a child's work. But he kept going. That was 4 years ago. He's 76 now. He's filled a whole room with paintings. His grandchildren fight over them. He's not famous. He'll never be in a gallery. But he found his voice. He found the thing he'd been holding inside him for 60 years. You have an Earl inside you. You have a song, a painting, a letter, a poem, a recipe, a teaching. It is your inheritance to give away. Don't let it die with you. 4. Look forward and see who you can become. This is the one most people miss. They think that at our age, you're done becoming. You've become who you're going to be, and the rest is just waiting. That's a lie. The soil is never finished. It changes with every season. A tree is never the same tree it was 20 years ago. It grows, it bends, it drops branches and grows new ones. You are still becoming. The question is, are you choosing who you're becoming? Or are you just letting the wind and the weather shape you without your consent? You have lived a life. You have learned things. You have had successes and failures. Now you have the rare, precious gift of time to actually choose who you want to be in the years you have left. Do you want to be a person of peace? Then choose it, one morning at a time. Do you want to be a person of kindness? Then choose it, one interaction at a time. Do you want to be the elder who brings calm to the room? Then choose it, one deep breath at a time. This is the winter work. This is the root work. You can't change the past. You can't undo the mistakes. But you can choose with every breath you have to become the person you've always wished you could be. My friend Martha was 74 and she was angry. Angry at her ex-husband. Angry at her boss who fired her. Angry at her children who didn't call enough. She was tired of being angry, but she didn't know how to stop. I told her, "Martha, every morning when you open your eyes, you have a choice. You can let the anger come back and sit with you all day, or you can say goodbye to it. You can choose peace." She didn't believe me at first, but she started trying. Every morning she would say out loud, "Today I am choosing peace." She would go outside and feel the sun on her face. She would take a deep breath and let the anger go just for that moment, then for another moment, then for another. It took months. But Martha is 78 now, and she's a different woman. She's calm. She smiles. The anger got tired of waiting and left her alone. You can do that too. You can become someone new. You're not done until the fire goes out. 5. Look down at your hands and see what they can still do. Your hands are not old and useless. They have held children. They have built things. They have fed people. They have signed papers and dug gardens and wiped tears. They can still do those things. Maybe slower, maybe more carefully, but they still can. Don't fall into the trap of thinking that the work doesn't count if it's small. A meal you cook for one person is a holy act. A weed you pull from the earth is a prayer. A door you hold open for a stranger is a gift. The modern world tells you that purpose must be grand and visible and measured. That's the lie I told you at the beginning. The old way says that purpose is found in the smallest, most ordinary acts. It's found in showing up, in the daily rhythm of care and attention, in the work of your hands, done with love. I had a neighbor named Samuel. He was 80, and he had a stroke that left him barely able to walk. He spent his days on his porch, just sitting. I would see him, and my heart would break. One day I went over and sat with him. I didn't say anything. We just sat there, looking at the same patch of sky. After a long while, he said, "Helen, I wish I could do something. I feel so useless." I said, "Samuel, you're sitting on this porch. Every day you're sitting here. That's not nothing. You're a witness. You see the morning come. You see the evening fall. You see the children walk to school. You see the seasons change." He looked at me like I was crazy, but I kept going. I said, "Your job, Samuel, is to be the keeper of this corner of the earth, to notice the things that others are too busy to see, to hold the space for them to come back to." Samuel started doing that. He didn't do anything else. He just sat on his porch and noticed. And you know what happened? People started coming to him. They'd walk by and he'd say, "The robins are back," or "The wind's changing." They'd stop and talk to him. They'd sit with him. He didn't move a muscle, but he became the heartbeat of that block. He found purpose in the smallest, quietest thing. Your hands can still hold a cup of coffee for a friend. Your voice can still say a gentle word. Your presence can still be a shelter for someone who needs one. That's purpose. That's more than enough. Now, I'm going to turn all of this back on you. I've told you about Ruth, Jacob, Beatrice, Earl, Martha, and Samuel. I've told you about the 5 ways. I've given you the old wisdom. But here's the harder question, and it's the one that matters most. What are you going to do when the sun comes up tomorrow? Are you going to sit in that silence and let it swallow you? Or are you going to look back, look around, look inward, look forward, and look down at your hands? This is not about big changes. This is not about becoming a new person overnight. This is about one small thing, one tiny seed that you plant tomorrow. Maybe you call an old friend and ask how they're doing. Maybe you write a letter to your grandson. Maybe you walk outside and just let yourself feel the air. Maybe you sit down and write your story. It doesn't have to be big. It just has to be real. The purpose is not in the scale of the thing. The purpose is in the doing, in the choosing, in the standing up and saying, "I am still here. I am still alive. I still have something to offer." I'm asking you to do that, not for me, for yourself, for the person you're still becoming, for the people who need you to hold the space for them. You have value, you have wisdom, you have a voice, and it's not too late. It's never too late until the fire goes out. Down in the comments, tell me one word for the season of life you're in right now. Just one word. I rid everyone. Now, I'm going to leave you with this, same as I leave everyone. The fire's burning low. The light's going down behind the rocks. You've got fewer evenings ahead than behind. Don't waste a single one.